Right, at this point, I'm going to call to order the monthly meeting, the October meeting of the Hannaford Regional Technical School District. We are calling this meeting to order without a quorum, therefore we will not be taking action until we get a quorum. Before you is a draft agenda. Because we don't have a quorum, I'd like to adjust a few things. I'm going to move the consent agenda and the action agenda to the tail end of the meeting. We will do introduction of board members for the camera, visitor comments, correspondence, then move into the informational portion of the meeting. At the conclusion of that, if we still do not have a quorum, we will close the meeting. So, unfortunately. I'm also going to add to the agenda a non-action item after correspondence, actually before correspondence. There's a few board-related things that I want to get on the camera and to the members that are here, and I'll reiterate these to the other board members when they come back in after the meeting, or if we don't continue with the meeting after the informational agenda, I will give this spiel again at the next meeting. So lucky you guys may have to listen to this twice. So let's lead off with introduction to board members. Laura, would you like to start?
Sure. Laura Lass, UD3.
Mike McLaughlin, Workforce Development Board.
Lynn Cole, Superintendent.
Jason LaRock, Workforce Development Board.
Mark Perrin, UD3.
Gibson Smith, Business Manager, Hannaford Career Center.
Lynn Schmidt, Adult Ed, Cooperative Education.
Kelly Mills, Unit Students and Assistant Director.
Okay, thank you. Would our visitors like to introduce themselves to the camera? No? Okay, that's fine too.
Sheena Strata, Literacy Coach, Hannaford Career Center.
Thank you, Sheena. Welcome.
Thanks.
So,
Presently on leave,
Yes, on leave. Yet I can't stay away.
What are you doing while you're on
Oh,
this
sure.
leave?
It's a professional leave that you all granted, so again, thank you. I have been completing administrative internships at different schools. I completed maybe 5 weeks at Virginia Junior High School, 2 weeks at the Tech Center in Essex, and I'm currently at the Castleton Village School, which is a 6 through 8 middle school.
all right. Do you have any additional comments for the board, or are you just here in an observation?
Just here is an observation.
You're about to return to us soon.
I have 3 weeks left.
Yeah, that's great.
It is. I've missed a lot.
We missed you.
I'm a little anxious to, I'm going to try to meet with some people and find out exactly how much I've missed so I can jump back in without too much of a hiccup in it. But it will be nice to be back.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So I'm going to take a couple minutes. I'll be quick. There's a few things that we have under correspondence that I'll read for the record after I'm done. One of them is a letter from the Middlebury Educators Association requesting we go into negotiations for the collective bargaining agreement for the staff, and one for the faculty. So I'll read those for the record after I'm done. First of all, I want to touch base on a few things that Lynn and I are doing. In next week, the 19th, Lynn and I will be up at Lake Maury before the School Board Association annual meeting for a joint board chair superintendent training, part of a legislative mandate that came out, I think, 3 years ago that require Lynn and I to do some joint training once a year. So this will be our second training this year, which will meet will more than meet our obligation under the new law. Another thing that we have in the works, based on a conversation that we had at last meeting, at the end of the month, October 25th, close to the end of the month, Lynn and I will be meeting with the superintendent and the board chair from the Springfield Career and Technical Center.
And Southwest.
Is Southwest meeting as well?
Southwest.
The whole purpose of we're going to be meeting down in Rutland, so if anyone here would has a real burning desire to attend, please let me know. It's part of an outreach program to see, we talk about what's going on here kind of in a vacuum. We're not getting, we don't know that we have the same problems that other career and technical centers do. As a board, we don't have that. We don't have access to that. So this is an opportunity to sit down, kind of see if we have common issues, and also to talk about things that we can do collaboratively as boards. If there's certain things that are, from a legislative standpoint, there are things that don't work, for these independent, career and technical centers. We can kind of talk a little bit about that and see if there's anything that we can do collectively as opposed to one individual, leading the charge. We have a group that's interested in affecting change. It's always good. I received an email from Jake Burnham with two main questions. First of all, the status of budget and policy. I'll speak to that a little bit. And he also wanted to offer up his time and request to be on the search committee when we offer that up. Unfortunately, based on time, I haven't had a chance to reach out to Jake. I was hoping to catch him today, but that didn't work out. So just wanted to let you know that. His concerns with budget and policy, as Lynn stated in his superintendent's report, we haven't taken up the 5-year plan yet. Now, typically the budget and policy meeting is the Wednesday after the board meeting. Unfortunately, we were unable to meet last month for two reasons. First of all, I was on vacation, and after the board meeting, I had a conversation with Holly Tippett, and Holly has decided that she needs to step down from the board. She's currently pursuing a master's degree, and is also at Virgins High School doing some work. And, it just, the time commitment, she wasn't going to be able to, put in the commitment here that she wanted to. So that's why Holly's not here. She's, submitted her letter of resignation, which she has asked me not to read for the camera, so I won't. But I wanted to let everyone know that she won't be joining us. She'll be greatly missed. She was on the board for just over or just shy of 6 years. I think
Just shy of 6,
yeah.
I believe.
So,
Because she would have completed her second term.
yeah. So that being said, we need to infill that position. Obviously, Holly, is one of those members that's here on a regular basis. Very, very rarely misses a meeting, and it's critical in helping us get a quorum. So, in an effort to fill that, both Lynn and I have reached out to, that's a workforce development position. So it's a .8, it's a recommendation that comes forth from the Addison County Economic Development. We as a board then approve those candidates. Both Lynn and I have reached out to some former board members. The reason why we're doing that is as we all know, we have a lot of things going on. Negotiating 2 contracts, replacing a superintendent, those 2 things, plus, the regular board, what we do on a monthly basis, both in this room and in committees. We need all hands on deck, and, reaching out to former board members to fill this position short term to help us get through this crunch, Lynn and I feel would be beneficial, as bringing in people that are already accustomed to how the Career Center works, and how this board works. So I just wanted to give everyone a heads up on that. My perception of how that's going to work is, it'll still follow through the same channels, because those individuals are put forth by Addison County Economic Development, and then whoever that person is, will bring it to the board for approval.
But to fulfill someone's term, the board can
Yeah,
directly appoint.
Yeah.
That's within the bylaws.
and we can, or we can also go through the,
Sure.
it's easy enough to go through the existing process. It's not like we have to warn an annual meeting for that, so. Which brings up the next topic. We'll need to change our bylaws to accommodate not only the new board, the new boards that are gonna come online next year, but to also accommodate the other things we have going on. So budget and policy has got a lot of things in front of it. One of the things we need to do is we need to prepare that warning, figure out how we want to change our bylaws so that we can bring the revised bylaws to you guys, so we can approve those before we put them out to the public in a special annual meeting. We're going to need to do that before our regularly scheduled annual meeting, because at that point, if for some reason those bylaws, the voters don't approve our bylaws, we need the opportunity to regroup and change those bylaws again at our annual meeting. Because if we don't have those changed, the boards that send 3 members, those aren't going to exist anymore. So relatively minor stuff, but still stuff that we need to do. The other portion of that is we still have to follow through on a few things before we're ready to put in an ad for a new superintendent. We need to vet the process that we're going to use. We need to present that to the board and get that approved. So I would like to do next month, or this month's budget and policy meeting next Tuesday. Our normal meeting would be Wednesday, but Lynn and I are going to be in Lake Maury. So
When are you going to be in Lake Maury? What time are you supposed to be there?
we're supposed to be there at noon to 7, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
or something. That's what's on my calendar. Like,
Lynn has something on his calendar at 7:30 on Wednesday morning. I was
Just
just-
say,
so
and at 9. And
Yeah, busy day.
Wednesday's gonna be busy next week.
It is.
And at
so
7.
So we also need to fill the clerk position, so we'll do that at a special meeting as well as changing the bylaws. So future things we have going on, I'm still in the process of reaching out to the current board chairs, the 3 sending schools, as well as the 2 future board chairs of 2 of those schools, to kind of have a broad conversation about where career and technical is going in Addison County, as well as the role that we're going to take in replacing Lynn, hopefully before the end of the school year. So I'll keep you posted on that as that evolves. I'll report out next month on the meeting with the other 2 career centers. I will reach out to Jake as well, let him know what's going on with their budget and policy. So once again, the whole reason we didn't meet budget and policy was just a lack, with Holly stepping down and me being out of town. It would be Lynn and a few others that show up, so we opted not to have that meeting. So correspondence. I have 2 pieces of correspondence that we received. The first one is from the Middlebury Educators Association. Dear Mr. LaRock, in accordance with Article 3.1 of the 2014-2017 Collective Bargaining Agreement, the Patricia A. Hannaford Career Center Personnel Unit is writing you to inform of its intent to negotiate a successor agreement. Please contact us at your earliest convenience to schedule the first negotiation session. We look forward to working with you. Sincerely, Don Jimmo. So at this point, we haven't set up a committee for that. We had talked that it made sense for Mark, who's spearheading the teachers negotiation, faculty negotiation, to do both of those, because there's a lot of parallels this year with the insurance. So are you still willing to do that? All right. So let's talk about what that committee looks like later on. Laura?
How does that work with the negotiations if you're going to be done in March?
Hopefully we're done.
Okay.
Well,
Well, 'cause that's when the,
Yep.
It- But you don't have to be a member of the board to be on the negotiating.
Oh, okay.
That's true.
That was my
It
question.
would be nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to be.
Well, yeah, and what that would do is put 2 members of that negotiating committee that are not board members. So that's something we're working on, how we're going to address that. So the next correspondence that I have is also from the Middlebury Educators Association. Dear Mr. LaRock, Dear Mr. LaRock, in accordance with Article 2.2 of the 2014-2017 Collective Bargaining Agreement, the Middlebury Educators Association Patricia A. Hannaford Regional Technical School District Teachers Unit is writing to inform you of our intent to negotiate a successor agreement. Please contact me at your earliest convenience to schedule our first negotiation session. We look forward to working with you. Sincerely, Aaron Townsend. This is the third correspondence in that cycle. We sent correspondence to them in June, I believe, June or end of May. They hadn't organized at that point, requested that we wait until fall. So this is them coming back to the table. So I will reach out to Aaron tomorrow and let him know that you will be calling to coordinate. All right.
Already seen the phone.
All right, so we're good there then. All right, next on our agenda is the informational agenda and the superintendent's report. In your packet, you'll find a copy of Lynn's report. Lynn, does anyone have questions for Lynn? Would you like to speak to it
I'm
before
going to
people
read
start
a couple
questioning
of
you?
the items simply because I think it's important for the community to be aware of. First of all is policy 2.5, which it would appear we won't take action on tonight in terms of approving that, my interpretation of that policy. But for certainly the immediate future, as with last year, I feel totally confident that Kelly Mills can step in to my place, and I recommend that she do that in the event that unforeseen I would not be able to fulfill my duties as the director superintendent of this organization. However, I think I would have left that article short if I didn't say that I think that it's imperative on the board to put together a process to advertise for my replacement, and that you have seated a permanent director by the time that I'm leaving. I have given somewhat of a sketchy timeline there, saying by the first of the year, you should be ready to advertise. You should be able to do your interviewing and vetting and be prepared to offer that position to a new permanent superintendent director by the end of March. And I say that not in any way discrediting Ms. Mills' abilities to do that. I think she is totally capable. But I think that charging and understanding and knowing that gives a message of what the Career Center wants to be and where the Career Center wants to head. So I'm kind of saying that as strongly as I can. Okay?
And I believe that is the intent of the board to move to that, and that's the intent of budget and policy to set forth a path in which we can do that.
Okay.
We reached out to Vermont School Board Association, to assist in that manner, or we started those conversations. Whether we go down that path or not, that's to be determined, as well as starting to engage other stakeholders, in that, to work towards those ends. So.
Okay. I just wanted to make that as a public statement. The 5-year plan, which is we put together, there was a team of leadership from the teaching staff as well as administration. As Jason has already spoken to, that has not been acted on, and board input and brought back for a vote. But it's not like we're just sitting idly by and not following through on some of the goals that we have. I've listed a couple of them. The room that we're sitting in is on that 5-year plan. I think that's pretty much completed, and is a very comfortable room. We still have air conditioning. I think we will be talking about that at the next facilities committee, just to catch us up, because we're not really sure where we're at on that. We have also, one of them was to reach out to the principals and have better contact. There are 2 typos there. One is after Miss Taylor, is proficiencies, not prophecies. Although Miss Taylor can probably give us her some idea on prophecies also. She was at one of our faculty meetings and did a great job. She's the principal at Virginia Union High School. She has been involved with us on a couple things. She was on our TAB, the technical assistant visit by SREB a couple years ago, and works very closely with us. So she was the first. And then that went so well that we felt that we should give Mr. Lawson some airtime at our faculty meeting. So he's coming down our next faculty meeting, and he's going to be talking about an international baccalaureate, not about international bachelorettes. And I thank Ms. Mills for pointing those two out.
Yeah.
Must have been watching some of Trump's newscasts.
Let's just not even go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
We have been using our professional learning community time to start looking at both what graduation, if you would, proficiencies would look like here at the Career Center. We got through some of those last, I believe it was October 4th. We had a half-day in-service, and that's what we worked on. And again, we're going to have the class from Castleton that starts on the 20th that is going to be looking at making the Hannaford Career Center. Our goal there is to start basing grading proficiencies, exit proficiencies, entrance proficiencies. So we're moving away from the whole kind of idea of credits and how many credits equal something and that kind of thing. And then we talked a little bit as the board meeting was beginning, so I'm going to just kind of, Jason had kind of started asking me to start thinking about, you know, what would be my vision of the Career Center. So this was one of those reflections that came to me and kind of said, okay, are we a high school or are we a college? What do we do differently? Why should we be different? And so on December 26, 9 students from Sustainable Agriculture and Plant and Animal Science processed 24 turkeys that were raised at Deep Roots Farm. That's the school farm. We sold some of these turkeys to offset feed costs, and the remaining 18 were delivered to the Hope Food Shelf by the Sustainable Agriculture students. These animals received excellent care through the summer and early fall by our farm managers, student interns from Middlebury College and PAHC, as well as the above-named classes, and the campers from Midsummer Camp. On the day of processing, the entire day was organized and conducted by students under my guidance, but it was a student-run day. The students were organized, professional, efficient, and above all, respectful to the animals. The state veterinarian chose that day to do her surprise visit to ensure humane handling procedures were in play. She was very impressed with our students and the project. With a student-run crew, most having never worked together, we were done and cleaned up at 3:45 p.m. This was one of those great days that I have been fortunate enough to experience. This is what education should be, and I believe can only happen at career and technical education centers, because we are able and willing to take the risk. We are much more than a high school program, and that is what makes us unique.
excellent. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
So I do have a question on that. So,
Yeah.
you know, obviously these students are not part of the skilled meat cutters program.
Actually, they are.
Okay, so you're embedding some of that into
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
plant and animal science?
The young woman who ran the processing lab, the kind of front of the house,
Yeah.
if you will, is fully certified through the
Okay.
Butchers and Meat Cutters program.
Perfect.
She got her certificate last spring as a member of the Sustainable agriculture program.
Excellent. But that being said, the remaining 9 students were fresh to it. This was their first time going through this process. So
Pretty
it was a
much.
new experience for them, is what you're telling me. And it was
Yeah,
a
pretty
successful.
much.
Excellent.
It
Excellent.
was, we had our farm intern, which we have hired a student from the Sustainable Ag to basically manage the farm this fall. And she coordinated all of the outside of the plant stuff, including lunch for 13 people, all of that kind of stuff. It was pretty impressive.
Excellent. It seems like every time I show up at North Campus unannounced, there's chickens or turkeys are being processed. And every time I've shown up, it appears to be a very well-run operation. There's no one standing around. They're all moving. Everyone kind of has a task. It's nice to see the organization and the commitment to that. So, good job. So, any questions for Lynn on his superintendent's report? All right, hearing none. The next item on our agenda would be the Dean of Students report. Kelly, would you like to add anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions for Kelly?
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the Adult Technical Education Report, which there's a copy of it in your packet. Len, would you like to add anything, or does anyone have any questions for Len?
Just draw attention to the programs under development bullet that are Seville driving range at Valley Bible Church was approved by DMV. Knock on wood, we'll have a class starting there on Monday.
So that's not a paved parking lot, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and they were, any hoops you had to jump through for that?
Their regulations stipulate that the driving range in its entirety has to be a minimum of 25 feet from any grass.
Okay,
But having a gravel parking lot is fine, but there was grass in the gravel, so we ended up having to first herbicide with Roundup and then spread a skim coat of gravel on the parking lot to make the grass invisible.
all right,
And
interesting.
then it was approved.
All right, excellent, excellent. Well, good job. I know that's been a long time in the works.
I hope that we're able to build some publicity and enthusiasm out of this so that we can make it an ongoing endeavor.
Excellent.
But, yeah.
Any additional questions for Len on his report? All right,
Valley Bible Church has been fantastic to work with. They've been very accommodating.
excellent, excellent. I'm glad to hear that. All right, unfortunately, we are at the end of our, oh. Not on the agenda.
He doesn't have to because it's
We
an
can't-
action item.
It's an action item.
Sorry.
So, that being said, we're at the end of our informational agenda. We still do not have a quorum. We have 5 members of our 11-member board here. We are down a member, and it is my understanding under current rules to have a quorum. It's a quorum of the total board, which is of the 11. So we need 6 members for that. We need 6 to have greater than, greater than a 50% majority anyway. So at this point, we're going to unfortunately end this meeting and call it a night. We'll have to take up policy 2.3 and 2.5 at a later date, so the next meeting. So.